Okay. Last but not least here is, this is 2-inch. Anybody know what this is inside here? Take a guess.
Is that a sump pump?
It's for a sump pump. It's a check valve. So it's just a swing check valve in there. So on the sides, we'll have, it'll say top, or it'll give you flow. It'll say this side up or something like that. So 2 inches is typically for a sewage ejector system, where you would have a 2-inch discharge. Your residential sump pumps, or any sump pumps, going to be pretty much 1.5 inches. So, okay, there's your fitting cart. Here we go. Any questions on any of those fittings?
What was the name of the first thing again?
Okay, hold
The
on.
orange one.
Let me go back here. So there's really not a good name. It's just a test plug. I don't really know what the specific name would be. You're using it in place of a threaded adapter, or like a nipple and a cap. So test nipple, you can call it something like that. I mean, it's kind of hard. Even when I went to the supply house and I would buy them there, I would just either grab one if they had them out, or tell them, and they'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a good name for it, to be honest with you.
All right.
At least that I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a specific name, but I think it'd be more by the manufacturer. They would call it, their test whatever, Okay. Hang on. All right, let's do 7:25 already. So let's do a quick review of what's coming up for your quiz. Kind of very quick. All right, so section 1. Hold on, I gotta get rid of this screen. There we go. I don't get to see anybody. Here we go. Okay, so section 1. Make sure you read over it again one last time before your quiz. Obviously, it's open book because you're home, so nothing I can do about that. But I did give a retry for this one, and lots of time, because I have some specific questions in here for some sizes and definitions. So I want you to think about it, and not just doing that to confuse you or make your life difficult, but if you have to go look for it, then you might read and you might remember more. So kind of some trade terms are important. Just going to breeze through the first section here, but different types of materials your fixtures are made of, different styles of sinks, what they're commonly used for and where they're used at. The cut sheets with your American Disabilities Act, your ADA heights and requirements, your non-ADA heights, minimum heights, bathtubs, how they kind of go from bathtubs to sinks again. So bathtubs is actually, let's wait for the bathtubs. So different style sinks here, some clearances, all this stuff's really good to know. Right hand bathtub, whirlpool tub. So remember how we define a bathtub: by what side the drain's on, whether if you have a concealed pump or motor that needs to be accessible or either readily accessible, depending on your code and what the definition of those are. Freestanding tubs, some showers. Here we go. So your chair carriers. We're not going to go too crazy on this in your quiz here, but just remember that's called a chair carrier. Actually, the sophomore class I'm covering for Mr. Skimsky Tuesday through Fridays, having some medical things. So I'll be in there from 7 to 1:30 with those guys. So I'll try to take some pictures as they go along. They'll be starting their carrier project on their side. So different types of toilets, how they're mounted: floor mounted, wall hung. Wheelchair accessible could be essentially really almost any toilet, depending on where the bars are, but they classify this as wheelchair because you have a bar in the back, and you really can't have that with a tank. because of the height requirement. So that would be a real deal wheelchair accessible water closet. It's important is your seals, your how they actually reverse trap, siphon jet, wash down, the different styles of them, what's common, what's not. Urinals, we didn't really go over, so I didn't really put it on there, and kind of tying urinals into section 2. So that's kind of your section 1 stuff from like there back, with maybe a couple other questions, but different types of urinals. So section 2, for the most part, washout urinals, where they really kind of dump a lot of water. They're kind of going away because of how much water they use. Almost the same with the siphon jet. Now everybody's going with like a 0.5 GPM diaphragm, which is diaphragm is what's in here and allows a certain amount of water to go in. And they just kind of trickle some water down and barely clean out the trap. It's the worst thing in the world because urine is horrible for drains. So you really need to wash them out. But I said this before about everybody trying to save water, and it just doesn't help out the plumbing system. So essentially with the urinals, you can have washout urinals or the siphon jet urinals. The siphon jet is what you would consider it just has the water trickling in with less gallons per minute, but it really doesn't siphon it. Oh, one more thing. Waterless urinals. I know the local Giant that I go to has waterless urinals. There's like a cartridge inside, says it right here, cartridge. And, it kind of supposed to eliminate the odor, and you change the cartridge every so often. They're horrible. I feel like every month or so, there's a sign on one of these 2 urinals saying it's out of order and it's full of pee. So definitely not something I recommend you installing if you have a choice in the matter. Here's your flushometer, which you really get into next year, but we can go over it. It's not going to hurt because I'm sure you'll have some summer loss, but underneath the cover is the diaphragm. It's inside here, and that's what controls the water. The diaphragm will come already set for different GPM, gallons per minute. Then you have a vacuum breaker in here. That vacuum breaker doesn't allow water to back up. Okay, they leak a lot. This O-ring in here, they call it a stop coupling. There's an O-ring in here that leaks a lot. If you get into service and you go work on one of these, or if you work maintenance somewhere, I think somebody was going to try to work at a school and do some maintenance, but if you go work, so when I did a lot of maintenance commercial, I changed everything. If I went to this flushometer, I would change turn the stop off. I would change the O-ring, if the diaphragm, if needed, if that was the call, and the vacuum breaker. Now the handle assembly can leak, but not as often. The last thing you want to do is turn this off to change the vacuum breaker. You have to loosen this and spin it out of your way, and then you put it back together and the O-ring leaks. Now you're doing it over again. The O-ring's 10 cents, just change it. So that's the flushometer. The spud, remember that word? That's a great thing that they have on here. So spud is anything that's connected to like the china. So that's why they call it a spud. Your water closets that are commercial with the flushometer, they have a spud. Your urinal has a spud. This would be the same for a urinal and a water closet, just to change the diaphragm and the inlet size. So a flushometer is a 1-inch minimum for a water closet flushometer and a 3/4 minimum for a urinal flushometer. And also for a urinal, this size can be 3/4, and for a flushometer, it'd be 1.25 for a water closet. Okay, oh, here's a nice picture of the waterless urinals. So they come with these things. They're absolute horrendous. So if you got to work on one, put some gloves on. And there's a bidet. Nowadays, I think I mentioned a lot of people just buy a bidet seat. It's a lot cheaper than having to pipe in another fixture. So you just kind of hook the seat up, hook a water line to it. They plug it in. It's just whatever. If somebody wants one, I just kind of like tell them, you buy it, I'll put it in. Garbage disposals. Most of you went upstairs and worked on the disposals, but here it gives you just a little inside where some of the parts and pieces are. I'm sure I didn't have it for today because I didn't want to go over that with these other videos, but I'm going to write that down. So I'd like to find a nice disposal video that goes over the service of it. You really get a lot of calls for that. And not that you don't want to like accept the service call and go make your quick service call money in someone's house, but a lot of times you could just coach them over the phone to do it. Did you make the service call money? No, but you made a customer happy, and then, you know, they call you back for something else. Did that twice last week. I should just bill them for it. Don't forget, you got a baffle inside your directional tees, whether it's a center or an end waist. I think we went over that last time. Just different styles of service sink, mop sinks, slop sink. There's a lot of different names for these. Laundry tray. A lot of people in residential will call them a laundry tray. Definitely install a lot of these, replace a lot of these. Pretty simple. Mop basin. So here is a washer box with hammer arresters. Most local codes now require that this washer box has hammer arresters. So what fixture uses a washer box? Anybody?
The washer.
Washing machine.
Yeah, there you go. The washing machine. Boy, I tell you, sharp as a butter knife. Now, they didn't always have to have these hammer arresters, but on a washing machine, what would cause the water hammer?
The solenoid inside, turning the
The
water on
solenoid-
and off.
Correct. I think that was major. Solenoid inside. So that's gonna cause a quick closing valve, cause water hammers. So most local jurisdictions say, you know what, we're just gonna make them put them on the system. So a lot of the newer homes now running like PEX, piping that's kind of moves on its own. That absorbs a lot of the water hammer. You don't really have a lot of clanking like you used to, but you know, they still put them on. It's good for the system. You don't shock an old fitting and break it. Different styles of washer boxes. And then of course the drain is on this one, it would be in the center. And it's just a light plastic knockout that you would knock the knockout out. The reason it comes with the knockout is because you would pipe this in during the roughing stage inside the walls, and it would be good for your air test or water test. And you wouldn't have to worry about putting something in. Drinking fountains, different styles, ADA heights, of course. I'm assuming they would give us the heights here somewhere. If not, we'll find them. Here's a floor drain that looks just like that shower drain I showed you. Here's a floor sink. In the commercial world, they make them out of plastic now. You don't have to buy these heavy cast iron ones unless it's spec'd in the book. That's where you would run a drain line over for any kind of sink in a kitchen that has to do with food. Then it cannot be connected to the sewer system, because if it backed up, sewage would go up into your sink. Okay, that's the end of that section. So we will review. Oh, no, it's not. That's the end of the first section I wanted to start. Now, the second section is pretty short. So what time is it? We got time. All right. Compression and non-compression faucets. Here's the trade terms for this section. A valve stem, okay, which is pretty much this part. Okay, where it has like the threads on it and it goes into the bonnet. Okay, valve stem, part of the faucet that connects the valve handle or hand wheel to the valve disc inside the body. If you say it slow to yourself and look at a picture, it's not complicated. Your valve seat, for those of you that had the time to go upstairs for that American Standard sink, that has a seat inside of it, which I believe this is the seat on this one inside here. Okay, that's where the washer sits against to close it. Okay, a valve disc is in a compression style fixture. And you'll see some pictures here. Seat washer, which is just your washer, the diverter, which directs the flow, a bib, a faucet, and an outlet at a downward angle, generally used for hose connection. So that's why they call it a hose bib. Anti-scald valve, I'll show you that one. So you're going to want to read through here, kind of look at the pictures. You can do your own research because, you know, the book's limited. So finding out more about compression, non-compression, and different style faucets. Here you'll have the, you know, just their reading on it with some specifics. Most faucets nowadays are kind of the non-compression style, where you'll have right here, you'll have a disc, you'll have some sort of rubber. This will be a cartridge, so it's more of like a one-off replaceable item. There's no really taking it apart for the most part. I mean, some brands you can, but it's just a waste of time. You just get the cartridge that's specific OEM for that faucet and you change it. It's not hard. This is a single control faucet. So here you have like a seat and washer style. Now this one is a self-closing compression faucet. So you might even have seen these when you've used the bathroom somewhere in a, you know, let me see a good example. Like, where did I see one last? Like a museum or something, like some places like that, schools maybe, where you just press the top or you twist it and it'll slowly close back on its own. They don't actually go bad as quick as you think. They're pretty reliable depending on the brand. Chicago makes a lot of those. But again, it's the same thing. You would take it apart. It just has replacement items. Most faucets you can look on your phone now and find, you know, cut sheets on them. Hold on here. Come on, dude. Okay. Here's a, this is actually a Moen cartridge. So that's probably the old 1222 where it wasn't a pressure balancing. They had a third part up here. So water pressure balancing piston. That's if you have cold water, hot water, obviously you don't get scalded. Here's 2 stops with the screw so you could shut it off. So you don't see these as much anymore, but they're out there. And you remember the Moen where you pull the pin and pull the cartridge out. So that's just a little example of having a balancing piston that's not part of the cartridge. Most faucets, 8-inch centers, lavatory faucets, like you can see here, 4-inch centers. So those are really important numbers to remember. Typically you're going to have 4 and 8-inch center set. That's what the name is, center set. What's the center set of the faucet? It's 4-inch, it's 8-inch. 8-inch is also considered widespread when you get into a lavatory. So if somebody says, oh, can you bring a faucet and change my lavatory faucet? Some people don't care. They just want a faucet. Okay, well, what's your center set? What's your spread? Is it 4-inch? Is it 8-inch? Have them send you a picture. Widespread would be when you have, say, a lavatory or a granite top with 3 holes and they're spread out further, where the outer 2 holes are 8 inches on center. And that's where you would have a 3-piece faucet and they would connect underneath with hoses. Let's see if they have a picture of it. I don't know. This is just going over some plastic components, but here's your showers. I'm sure everybody's seen a shower. The anti-scald valve. So in a commercial application, when you have a 140-degree water heater, okay, or it's set at 140 degrees for their kitchen, you have to tone it down at the fixture. So if you're setting 140 degrees to your lavatory faucet, that's going to burn. So that's not going to work out too well. So this is where your cold and hot would come in. So your cold would come in here and just go straight through to your faucet. It mixes in here with the hot, and then that would be your mixed. That's why you see an M there, if you can see it. And that would go to your fixture. And then here's how you control the temperature. Very common in a commercial world. You'll see it under the sink. A lot of people just get rid of them when they go bad. And, you know, I mean, honestly, nobody's really going to wait long enough to get that hot water out of their faucet in a commercial when they're washing their hands. Boiler drains. We all remember the flower valve and boiler drain. Silcock with a separate vacuum breaker, which I think we had one on the table. So here's where you have a residential commercial. So we have the frost-free hydrant, and then in the commercial world, you're going to have that key. You're going to need some sort of key there. Anybody who lives in, you know, out somewhere where they might have like a barn or a reason to have a yard hydrant, this is an unspecified amount. It could be 4, 6, 8 feet, goes down on the ground. You connect the water so it doesn't freeze. And there's a fitting on the bottom, almost like a vacuum breaker that would let the water drain out. And you just pump it right here and open the water. So that's just a commercial sink. All right, it's the end of section 2, 742. Okay, we're doing good. All right, good job. Any questions on anything in that section, which we will go over again before you get any kind of big quizzes on it. But I would suggest reading it, you know, even if you just read it once, just go through and read it. Pick a couple paragraphs a day. Some good information in there that I'm not going to sit here and just tell you. So hold on, I got to open up another. So based on the last class, did we I know we watched the This Old House about the sewer smell, but did we watch this video? Just like as a 1-minute video, I don't remember about.
Let's take a look at how the plumbing of your home is supposed to work.
Did we watch this last time?
I think
I think you sent them on the email.
Okay. Well, let's just,
And
it's only a
some of the
minute.
things
Let's just
that
watch
might
it.
go wrong to allow odors inside. A plumbing system is a network of pipes, vents, and traps. Pipes carry solid and liquid wastes away from your home. Vents enable the wastewater to flow freely through the pipes and away from your house. They also give sewer gases a place to escape. Traps hold a small amount of water within the pipes near drains. This trapped water seals off any sewer gases in the pipes and keeps them from coming through the drain and into your house. Most often, when you can smell sewer odors inside, the cause is a dry trap. This often happens when you have a sink that is seldom used or a floor drain that is always dry. The solution is simple. Pour about 1 gallon of water into each of your drains. If this solves the problem, make it a part of your routine to pour water into your drains once every month or so. If pouring water into the drains does not solve the odor problem, you will need to look for other possible sources of sewer odors inside. Some other common causes of sewer odors inside a building are loose or unsealed joints in wastewater pipes, broken, cracked, or clogged pipes, an old, dried out wax toilet ring seal, or cracked or broken vent pipes. You may need to hire a plumber to help you troubleshoot the sewer odors in your home.
It looks like he's got a stomach ache or something. Doesn't he? He's like holding his stomach.
A plumber
it's
can
fine.
use various tests and tools, such as a video camera or a smoke test, to check your plumbing for problems.
Or it was his first day on the job and he doesn't like the plumbing. I don't know. It looks funny to me. All right, cool. All right, I want to show you. I didn't send this other video. We don't have time to like watch videos the whole time we're in class here. So I want to send you a lot, and I'm really hoping that you watch them because I will take some notes on them and have some questions. But there's another one that I didn't really want to send out. Where is it? Hold on, I got to open it. Just give me a second. Get through the ads on my own. Hold on. 46. Okay, we got a couple minutes.
The all-new Hyundai Elantra with a 10.25-inch infotainment screen.
I love this song.
Not available in Civic Corolla.
Redo the tile, but this wall was really thick. It was probably like, I don't know, like 3 inches thick.
All right. 1 second. Sorry. Zoom. Yeah, I didn't want to send this out because, you know, he doesn't always say the nicest words. So, but anyway, this is this Steve Lamanera guy. He's fun to watch. I wouldn't say he's, you know, maybe a good online teacher, kind of like that other guy. What's his name with the mustache? I can't remember his name.
Roger.
Oh, Wakefield. Yeah, that Wakefield guy's pretty good. I have a video of him doing something. I like that guy. He's pretty smart. All right. So we're not going to really watch this guy do everything. I just wanted to show you this before we run out of time. Is you'll run into a lot of these where you have a 2 or 3 handle fixture in like a residential house. And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you have a 2 or 3 handle fixture. They come and then you buy this plate separate. Okay. And you kind of just obviously take the water, turn the water off, and you know, do all that. You can't really do this from the back. You can hook the valve up from the back, but the reason he's doing this is this is not a pressure balancing fixture. Okay. To have hot and cold separate like that. So people get tired of the scalding, or they want a more modern fixture, but they don't want to renovate their whole bathroom or their bathtub. So you can see how he just very simply put it up there, and he's going to draw out where he wants to cut the plate. And the only good way that I've ever done it, it's the same way he's doing it, is to take, we got an ad in 5 seconds. Help me, a break. So I see how he's cutting that. Now, depending on the customer and the house, I don't recommend you taking your tile grinder. I hope you have glasses and a mask on. I don't recommend you taking your tile grinder here unless you have a shop vac running and you're holding your shop vac right behind it. Okay, because you'll fill the place up with dust. So the labor intensive part when you have an old tile wall like this, which you probably will because that's how old this fixture is. This is how they built the houses back then. So I've done this 100 times. It sucks. And I charge a lot more for it now because I figure like if they're not going to spend the money on the damn tile, then they're spending the money on me because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of cleanup. It's a pain in the ass. So pretty simple. You're just cutting that out. See how much time this guy's taking. Yeah, he cut the other. Let's see if he shows the other fixture in there. Yeah, things are tight to work around. It looks like an old Gerber has those unions on it. Okay, tight back on these places to work. So that's why as much as you pro press and do other things, you still got to solder. So how you put these in place, they'll come with like two little bars and the screw. You can see the bar down here, and then it's just like a toggle bolt, and you just hold it in. And then this is now your wall. And then you just hook up your new fixture. So he's using a Simmons valve. He does a lot of those Simmons valves up north. So anyway, I can send it out. You can watch the whole thing, but I mean, it's kind of like whatever. I don't know. You don't watch the whole thing, but yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't think I had any other ones on here I didn't send out. Did you guys, anybody watch that one video with those plumbing twins or whoever they were about the smoke test and they were on the roof? Did you watch that one? Yeah, those guys are a trip, huh? They're really excited about making videos. I've never seen them before. So anyway, okay, well, 7:51. So any just a reminder, quiz module 10, 175 due Wednesday at midnight. It's only 10 questions, but they're a little more involved. So I was very generous on the time that I gave you and a retake. But please read and try to retain the information, not just answer the questions. Okay, we did that. What else is there? Well, we finished section 1, section 2, which is pretty much module 10. We'll go over some of the other stuff in section 2, and then we'll kind of quiz on some other stuff, maybe some of the stuff in some of these videos, maybe later in the week or next week. I will continue to, I'll check the videos off that I sent you so I don't double send them. I'll try to send you some more good ones. I really want to stick with service for a while. I just think that's more beneficial and probably is the best I can do in a Zoom is to, at least show you some things getting fixed so you can see it. But, or if anybody has anything that they've running into, a couple people send me some pictures, send them to me. Take a quick video, send it to me. We'll show everybody. I think that's going to be a good way to learn. So, all right, if you have any questions, you can hang out, or if not, then enjoy your math class if you have it. We'll see you. We got here gallery.
Yeah. Are we gonna have another Zoom call sometime this week, or is this probably gonna be it?
Well, I gotta look at the amount, and for this week, what's this? No, because I have Skimsky's class I'm gonna cover for him. So what I did was I didn't remember in the beginning, but about 3/4 of the way through the fitting card, I recorded this one. So I'm going to go back when everybody's done and go back to the beginning of the fitting cart real quick and just kind of go through those for those guys. And then I'm going to figure out how to post it. I think I did like a YouTube channel the first time we had class, but I'm going to get my kids to help me with it. So I'm just going to post it kind of like if anybody missed it or somebody wants to review. But yeah, I mean, for what we're going over, I don't really, and a lot of people are working now. You wouldn't believe how many people got jobs. So
Well, I would show you where I am right now, but I'm on a way to another job in the van, and I missed like probably the first 10 minutes because we were on a call and I couldn't use my phone in the house.
no, that's all good. That's why I'm recording. And I'm gonna, like right now it's recording, but then I'm gonna go back to the fitting cart again because I forgot to press record. I even set a reminder. So I'm gonna go over the fitting cart just kind of like a breeze through real quick in case anybody, missed it. So I think that's gonna be the best way to make up, because if I have to do this twice, I really don't mind, but I'm not gonna say the same things and it's gonna be confusing. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's all good. So I'll send that out once I figure out how to do that.
All right. Well, when I get there, I'll send you a couple pictures. But we're doing a new building at a church. It's like they just dug out the I guess the footing for it, and now we're putting in I guess the water. Oh, we're doing the water service today.
Oh, that'd be great for a water service.
Yeah.
I don't have anything like that.
Yeah, so I'll send pictures and videos of what we're
Yeah,
doing
send me
today.
some pictures of the connections of how they're connecting it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm actually gonna write that down. All right, appreciate it. Get back to work.
All right. I'll see you.
Okay, so now we're gonna go back and do what I missed. I apologize for that. Let me open the fitting card again. Okay, this is a continuation because I forgot to press record. So the first item was this. It's just a test plug, test nipple. Has a rubber washer on it. That's for your ear to elbow for a shower tub, anything that you have the ear to elbow, whether it's body sprays, anything that has an ear to elbow, you can put this in for an air or a water test. Your thermocouple, 17 to 32 is your millivolts. The red positive would go on the copper. Your black negative would go on the end here, and that's how you would test your millivolts. Here is a galvanized riser clamp used to go between two floors. This one, I believe, is a 2-inch galvanized riser clamp is what you would call that. The boiler shank. We're going to go over this again next time, but here you have a temperature and pressure gauge, and your boiler system will run about 180 to 160. Your pressure would blow the relief valve on a boiler at 30, so you keep the boiler around 20, we'll say. And the 2.5-inch shank means if you turn this sideways, you'll see a brass shank with threads on it that would go into the water to read the temperature and pressure. That's where the shank comes from. Hydrant keys on a commercial hydrant, instead of having a handle, you'll just have like a hex or a square head, and these different styles of keys would just turn that off and on. Tile shower drain, solvent weld here. These bolts would come off for the tile man after you have this attached to the floor. You just put some screws on the outer ring, and he would take his rubber underneath, tighten it down, screw this back in, and that's how it would be watertight. Let's go back to the beginning. This tool here is used for recessed plugs for cleanouts. So if you have like a threaded plug behind the wall or under the cleanout on the floor, this would stop what, the sewer gas and water or anything from backing up. So you would just take this hexagon or 4 square and stick it in the recessed hole. I'll have to show you one of those next class so you can see what I'm talking about. But that's where you would stick it in, take your wrench and unscrew that. The reason it's recessed is because if it's in a wall, you wouldn't want the cap to stick out or the plug to stick out. So these are hold right straps used in mostly commercial. You can use them residential, but they cost a little bit more. So, and you have these parts that would snap inside, and you would have like half or 3/4. They make them 1, whatever you need. And you would stick this where the pipes would come out of the wall, and this would hold it nice and steady for like your sink, water closet, anything you want. If you want to go vertical, You could screw this into the side of the metal stud and that would go in. You can use them in wood too. I do too, but they're a little bit more expensive, but that's pretty much the fastening system. Here's a Bassett strap, they call it. Bassett makes it, but it's adjustable. It's 2 pieces. It just slides back and forth. And that's how you would go up in a joist bay. Instead of using a 2x4, you would use this and just have the pipe rest on top of it. It's a code approved hanger. Difference, just a different style flapper. Has the connection to the flush valve is like a snap-on little ear. Just got to be careful with these. You don't break the flush valve ear. If not, you change the flush valve. Circulating pump for a boiler. We're going to go over boilers a little bit more. So here's the circulating pump, has a directional arrow, and it has a gasket with bolts in that and a flange, and that's how you connect it into the system, and it moves water around. 2-inch swing check valve, plastic. It's for so 2 inches generally used for a sewage ejector system, and it has a directional flow arrow and a top or bottom because it's a swing check. So obviously you can't put it upside down. It's not going to do anything. Okay. That is the end because I reviewed the front. So you're good to go.